quick word on depression. Working as a PT, I can tell you that mental health and physical health are one and the same. They are intertwined and they grow together. So if you're like me a decade ago and you're thinking, I'll wait until I get my head on straight, then I'll get physically fit. Doesn't work that way. You gotta do both at the same time. Work on your physical fitness, your mental health will follow, and vice versa. You can't let one go to the wayside and hope the other one gets better. Now, as someone who's suffered clinical depression before, been diagnosed and on medication, I wanted to quickly summarize how depression afflicted me and the ways that I navigated through it. My depression manifested as a realization. I suddenly realized that I would never be happy again and that nothing would ever satisfy me. Imagine an overwhelming wave of certainty that there's no hope for anything. All desire, all satisfaction from even the most menial things like eating offered nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was nothing in the world but pain and sadness. The only way that I navigated through that time was, I'm a high-functioning autistic, so I'm quite a logical person in the way I approach problems, and that actually assisted me during these phases because, you know, I've been happy before, I can be happy again. I'm unlikely to be overjoyed if I'm dead. So I just took one thing at a time, did one tiny thing, and eventually I got past it. I reached out while I was depressed to my GP and started getting attention, started getting help, and I did that even though I knew that it wouldn't work. I was wrong, but I knew. And what's important to realize if you are depressed or you're trying to understand someone who is, that when you are depressed, your emotions are the symptom. Depression, in the way I've experienced it, is like nothing else you can imagine. Normally, in a neurotypical person or someone who's not experiencing depression, your emotions are generally proportional to a stimuli or a set of circumstances. They elicit an emotional response, and then we can choose as mature people how to respond to it. Depression takes that away, in the same way that you might get a snuffly nose or sinus issues when you're fighting a sickness. In depression, you get a warp of your emotions. You get an inability to feel happiness, a complete lack of desire to do literally anything, and that manifests in a lot of people, myself included, as a certainty of certain things, a certainty that you will never be happy again, a certainty that you will never be satisfied. And it is so certain that it feels like a realization. It feels like you realize these things. How could I have not seen it all the time? And it is impossible to change your mindset to get out of that. It is a chemical problem. It's very hard to conceptualize of emotions being symptomatic, but that really is the best way of describing depression that I know of. And the disease is such that even sitting here, having suffered severe depression twice in my life, I cannot put myself back in that position. I can't adequately express to you exactly what it's like to be in that phase, even having been in it. It is like a one-way mirror. You cannot see into it when you're not experiencing it. You cannot see out of it when you are. It is the most awful thing I've ever experienced, and I would wish it on no one. So hopefully that helps get a bit of understanding as to what depression can be. Relating that to what I do now as a PT, motivation, very hard to come by normally. Impossible while you're clinically depressed. But all the reason that it's hard to come by in everyday life is because people approach it incorrectly. People are waiting around for motivation to strike them from on high. I need to get motivated to get fit. No, you don't. You need to get fit to get motivated. Because the fact is, motivation happens after action, not before. In the same way that in order to see the results of fitness, you're going to have to be working at it consistently for a number of months. Motivation is the same. Particularly for me, dealing with autistic social phobias. After my second bout of depression, I started to challenge and push out my phobia. I wasn't motivated to do those things. I did them in spite of my lack of motivation, in spite of my fear, in spite of my terror at what might happen, because I chose to hope that there would be something better on the other side. As it happens, my social phobias were clouding my ability to perceive what I do now properly. Being in a loud environment, a complicated environment, interacting with new people on a daily basis, a year ago would have seemed terrifying. Still is a little bit, let's be honest. The more I exposed myself to it, the less that fear afflicted me and the more I could see my passion for what I did underneath it. Before taking action, there was this cloud of fear that really sapped away any ability that I had to be passionate about interacting with people. And that's genuinely very sad. So the lesson I want to leave you all with is please don't let phobias and fears hold you back. Test your boundaries, push your boundaries, because it's entirely possible that your fear, your reservations, are the reason that you don't enjoy these things. And were you to expose yourself to the things that scare you, slowly, manageably, once that fear goes away, you actually find a new joy and a new passion that you never had before. And I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything else you want to ask a PT, leave it in the comments. I will get to it in a future video. Check out workoutways.co.uk for a bit more about what I do with my coaching and fitness business. And until next time, farewell.